our souls and set us on fire. Amen. I have to tell you, you all are very, very lucky. Yesterday morning, I got up early to work on my sermon, and I went out into our front yard. We've got a picnic table, and I had my books out there, and my notes and other things, and I worked for a few hours. Then about 9 o'clock, I headed into the house and got distracted. I was working up in our bathroom. I'm laying in the oak floor in there, and so I spent about, 3.5, 4 hours up doing that. Then I came downstairs at like 12:30 or 1, and I noticed that my books were still outside. And so, in a panic, I ran outside. But luckily, no one stole my sermon. I'm just glad I didn't leave it out overnight. So we're in the Gospel of John. And as you probably know, the Gospel of John is a very distinctive gospel. Very, very different in lots of ways from Matthew, Mark, and Luke. And one of the things about John that is so distinctive and so fascinating is the fact that you can read John and it can just come across as very simple and straightforward. But then you look at it again and it seems very deep and mysterious. And so one of the ways in which scholars, I've heard this image a number of times that characterize the Gospel of John, is that John is like a pool in which a child can wade and an elephant can swim. It's a very interesting image. And actually, it's an ancient image. The image goes as far back as to at least the 4th century, to Gregory the Great. And when he applied the image, he didn't apply it to the Gospel of John, he applied it to the Scriptures as a whole. And this is what he says. Scripture is like a river, broad and deep. Shallow enough here for the lamb to go wading, but deep enough there for the elephant to swim. And I think those descriptions are apt to the Gospel of John, of Scripture as a whole. But I also think that they are good descriptions of Jesus himself. Jesus is like a broad and deep river. Shallow enough for a child to wade in, deep enough for an elephant to swim. And we get that in today's reading. Now, for the last several weeks, we've been reading through chapter 6 in the Gospel of John. And it's this kind of big discourse on the bread of life. Jesus is talking about this, debating about it. And on one level, it seems very simple what he says. But on another level, it seems very mysterious. And in particular, today seems very mysterious. Several weeks ago, we read how Jesus fed thousands of people with just a few loaves of fish. The disciples gathered up 12 basketfuls of leftovers. And then he sent them off in a boat by themselves to cross the Sea of Galilee. And then he went up on a mountain by himself to pray. And this, of course, is the scene where the disciples have trouble getting across the sea. And Jesus comes and walks to them on the water, gets near them, reveals himself, everything calms down, and immediately they're on the other side of the bank. The next morning, when the people whom Jesus had fed wake up, they had seen the disciples go away, but they hadn't seen Jesus disappear. And there weren't any other boats around. And so they began searching for him, and searching for him. And they eventually found him on the opposite side of the shore. He had fed them on this side, and they find him on the opposite side. And when they come to him, they say, "Rabbi, when did you get here?" Jesus looks at them and says, "You know what? You've been searching for me. Not because you saw a sign from God, but simply because you had your bellies full. Don't work for the food that perishes. Don't devote your life and energy to those things that are here today and gone tomorrow. Believe in the one whom God has sent." And then suddenly the conversation turns to manna, that bread from heaven that God had fed the Israelites for 40 years in the wilderness. And Jesus talks about that manna and talks about how special it was, but he says, The true bread from heaven, the true bread of God, is that which comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. Not just life to God's people, to the Israelites, but life to the world. And at this point, Jesus does something quite interesting and quite shocking to his hearers. He says, I am that bread. I am the bread of life that has come down from heaven. And he begins going on and on about that. And the Jews, his opponents, begin to debate him on that. And then he comes to our reading today, and he says again, I am the living bread that came down from heaven. Whoever eats of this bread will live forever, and the bread that I will give for the life of the world is my flesh. We were talking about bread, and now we're talking about flesh. And it was clearly offensive, because those who've been questioning him, in disgust, they ask, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? How can this man give us his flesh to eat? How indeed? And that's the question. Not just for them, but for us. How can this man give us his flesh to eat? And notice what Jesus does with this question. He doesn't back off on it. He doesn't look at them and say, hey, you're taking it too literally. Nor does he just tell a story or a parable to explain what he means. He actually doubles down. It was graphic enough to talk about eating his flesh. Now he talks about, truly I tell you, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you. And then he repeats this in different ways 3 or 4 times. And it really is a very graphic, cannibalistic image. And don't have the Eucharist in mind. Even though the Eucharist is connected to what Jesus says, Jesus is not talking about the Eucharist. Because no one would be offended by Jesus saying, by the way, unless you have a ritual meal with bread and wine, you have no life in you. No, he says, unless you eat my flesh and drink my blood, you have no life. Why does Jesus intensify the language? Why does he get so raw with this language? After all, it doesn't play very well. Next week, when we come back, we'll hear the rest of the story. And his language doesn't play very well, not only with his opponents, but even his own disciples. And at some point, his own disciples say, this is weird. This is too much. This is too hard. And most of them leave and stop following him. So why is Jesus? What's he after? What is he wanting for us? Well, in a word, he's wanting life for us. Not just any kind of life. Not counterfeit life. Not the sort of life that we can make for ourselves. He's wanting the eternal kind of life for us. The life that comes from God. Life with God. And that's why he was sent. That's why he came. To bring us this sort of full, abundant life. And he himself is able to offer it. Because he lives in this connected, unbroken communion with God. And what he wants for all the people of the world is for them to be brought into communion with his Father. To have this sort of unbroken communion with God. The life that comes from this God who created us. Life that comes from this God who loves us with boundless compassion. Here's the trick. This life is in Jesus, but it's not in us. So, we have to get the life of Jesus into us. We have to get Jesus into us. And so Jesus offers himself to us. He offers us his life, and he offers us his death. He offers us his flesh, and and he offers us his blood. He holds out his flesh and he says, take, eat. He pours out his blood. He says, drink this, all of you. That's why he is so rapid. There's a movie that came out in 1996, you may have seen it, called Phenomenon. It starred John Travolta. And John Travolta played, the character I think he was George Malley. And he was this kind person, but he was a very average auto mechanic. One night he goes out, and while he is looking at the stars, a bright light flashes and blinds him, knocks him to the ground, and knocks him out. And when he finally comes to, he has no idea what has happened to him. But over the next few days and few weeks, you begin to discover that he is now incredibly intelligent. He stays up all night reading books that he would have never been able to read before. He starts solving scientific dilemmas and mathematical problems. He develops this super fertilizer that he gives to one of his neighbors that they use on their fields, and it creates wonderful crops but doesn't deplete the land. Eventually, he's able to move things with his mind. And of course, this causes quite a stir in his little town. People are both attracted to him, but they're scared of him. And the U.S. government is particularly scared of him. And they go searching for him. Near the end of the movie, he visits the doctor. And come to find out, he has this very large brain tumor. So he's going to die. And it is this tumor that has enhanced his abilities. It is this tumor that explains the powers that are at work in him. And in one of the final scenes, he is on a farm, and there are a couple of small kids around him. They're the children of his girlfriend. They don't know what to do about the fact that he's about to die. And he's eating apple. And he's talking to them. And he says, you know, if you were to just take this apple and lay it on the ground and put it on the ground, it would just rot and spoil. But what if you took this apple? What if you were to take a bite of this apple? There's a rotten apple. It would become a part of you. And you could take it wherever you go. This is what Jesus wants for us. That we feed on him so that he can become a part of us. So that we can take him wherever we go for as long as we live.